My son said, "Grandpa gives me everything I want without lectures. I'm moving in with him." I signed the custody papers without a fight. 3 months of Grandpa's spoiling turned my ungrateful child into someone begging to come home with new chores and bedtimes. I'm Mark, 39 years old, male, and a single dad to my son Tyler, who just turned 13. If you've ever had a teenager, you know that around this age they suddenly start acting like they know everything. But Tyler took it to a level I didn't see coming. The day it all blew up, we were in the kitchen. He was sitting at the counter with that blank, glazed-over look kids get when they're scrolling TikTok. I just told him to put the phone down and take out the trash when he hit me with it. "Grandpa gives me everything I want without the lectures. I'm moving in with him." Just like that. No hesitation, no build-up. Like he'd been rehearsing it. I froze. It wasn't just the words, it was the way he said them. Like I was this obstacle in his life, some background noise he was finally done tolerating. My dad, Roger, 66 male, has always been the fun grandparent. Big gestures, big spending. Tyler's birthday? Roger shows up with a dirt bike. Christmas? A PS5, while I got him clothes and books. He's the type who thinks love equals money, and discipline is oppression. And Tyler, already moody, already testing boundaries, ate it up. It gutted me. I wanted to argue. I wanted to say, "I'm your father, not him. I'm the one who's been here every night making sure you do your homework, eating spaghetti out of the same chipped bowl, keeping the lights on." But Tyler was staring at me with this defiance that was way bigger than his 13 years. So I did the unthinkable. I said, "Fine." I signed the custody papers without a fight. Not because I wanted to give him up, but because I knew forcing him to stay would just make me the enemy. If he wanted to see what living with Grandpa's version of no rules really looked like, then fine. Let him go. Handing those papers to my lawyer was one of the worst moments of my life. My chest felt hollow, like I'd just amputated a piece of myself. The silence in my house afterward was brutal. Tyler's room empty, his sneakers gone from the hallway, his dumb half-finished Lego set sitting on my workbench like it was mocking me. Every night I sat at the kitchen table staring at my phone, half expecting a call, a text, something. But nothing came. Meanwhile, Roger made a whole production out of it, posting photos of him and Tyler at restaurants, at the arcade, holding shopping bags from the mall, captioning them with garbage like, "Finally, the boy gets to live a little." People liked and commented, eating it up. My own family chimed in. My sister even wrote, "He's better off." That cut deeper than I'll admit. But here's the thing. I knew Roger. I grew up under his roof. He's great at buying you things, terrible at actually raising you. The man doesn't cook, doesn't enforce bedtimes, doesn't give a damn about school unless you bring home a trophy. For the first few weeks, Tyler was probably living like a king. Ice cream for dinner, video games until 3 a.m. I could almost hear his smug little voice saying, "See, Dad, I told you." But deep down, I knew it wouldn't last. And I was right. 3 weeks into Tyler living with Roger, the cracks started showing. At first, it was little things I caught through his social media. Tyler would post photos at midnight eating pizza in front of the TV, bragging about how he never had to go to bed. The next morning, he looked pale and wrecked, circles under his eyes. His school grades, which I tracked online, tanked. Missing assignments, late submissions, forgot homework, excuses. I kept quiet. Every part of me wanted to march over there and drag him home, but I knew if I jumped too early, he'd dig in his heels. Roger would weaponize it too, tell him I was controlling, just jealous of how happy he was. I'd heard those lines my whole childhood. The first real warning came from Tyler's school counselor. She called me, not Roger, saying he'd been falling asleep in class, acting out, mouthing off to teachers. Apparently, he told one teacher, "My grandpa says I don't need algebra to live. He made it without school." That night, I drove past Roger's house. His truck wasn't even in the driveway. Inside, every light was on, TV blaring through the window. Tyler was sprawled on the couch, still in his school clothes, Mountain Dew cans on the floor, phone glued to his face. No homework, no supervision. My stomach twisted. Then came the meltdown. Roger had promised to take Tyler to a monster truck show. Bought the tickets, hyped it up for weeks. The day of, Roger's drinking buddies called, invited him to some lake trip. He bailed on Tyler, just left him at home with $50 for pizza. Tyler exploded. He called me crying. This kid who'd sworn I was too strict, sobbing into the phone about how Grandpa forgot him. He didn't even want me to pick him up. He just wanted someone to listen. I sat in my car outside work, gripping the steering wheel so hard my hands hurt, whispering, "Now you see, kid. Now you see." But the worst was yet to come. One Friday night, Roger got drunk. I mean sloppy, can't stand up drunk. Tyler told me later that Roger stumbled around the kitchen, dropped a glass, and when Tyler tried to help, Roger snapped at him, called him ungrateful, said, "You think I owe you this? I raised your father. Look how he turned out. Selfish, bitter." That line, that old poison, cut straight through me. I knew it would scar Tyler too. The next morning, Roger plastered Facebook with photos of them, bonding over breakfast. But Tyler didn't look proud anymore. He looked tired, eyes down, shoulders slumped. I knew that look. I'd worn it growing up. I stayed quiet, but inside I was ready. Roger's empire of junk food, toys, and empty promises was collapsing, and I wasn't about to soften the landing for either of them. Don't forget to subscribe. By the end of the second month, Tyler wasn't bragging anymore. He stopped posting pictures with Roger. When I called to check in, he sounded short, irritable, almost embarrassed. Then I got the call I'd been waiting for, but not in the way I imagined. It was Saturday night. A neighbor of Roger's, someone I barely knew, rang me up. She said she heard yelling, things breaking, and my son crying. "Mark, you need to get over here," she said. "Your dad's losing it." I don't even remember the drive. When I pulled up, the porch light was swinging like someone had just slammed the door. Inside, chaos. A broken chair on the floor. Beer bottles scattered. Tyler standing by the hallway, red-faced, clutching his backpack like he was ready to bolt. Roger was in the kitchen, yelling, waving his hands like a maniac. I stepped in. "What the hell's going on?" Tyler spoke first, his voice cracked. He said if I don't like it here, I should pack my crap and leave. Apparently, Tyler had told Roger he was sick of eating junk, sick of being left alone, sick of broken promises. He asked for some kind of rules, a bedtime, a schedule, something. Roger laughed in his face, called him soft. When Tyler pushed back, Roger lost it, shoved the kitchen table so hard the plates crashed to the floor. That's when the neighbor heard. I looked at Roger, my father, and saw the same old monster I grew up with. Red in the face, pointing at me now. "You did this. You poisoned him against me, just like you always do," I snapped. "No, Dad. You did this all by yourself." Roger shoved a bottle off the counter. It exploded against the tile. Tyler flinched, cowering against the wall. I stepped between them, and for the first time in years, I felt taller than him. "You don't get to scare him like you scared me." My voice was shaking but steady. "You wanted to play Dad of the Year? Congratulations. You lasted 8 weeks before showing him who you really are." Roger sneered. "Take him then. I don't care." Tyler didn't hesitate. He ran to me, clutching my arm like he was drowning. I wrapped my arm around him and didn't let go. We walked out together. Behind us, Roger yelled after me, his words slurred and ugly. "You'll regret this. He'll hate you again." But Tyler's grip just tightened. That night, back at my house, he didn't even unpack. He just crawled into his old bed and passed out, shoes still on. I stood in the doorway, staring at his messy hair spilling across the pillow, and I thought, he finally understands. But this isn't over, not with my father. The next morning, Tyler wouldn't look me in the eye. He sat at the kitchen table pushing eggs around his plate, mumbling. Finally, he whispered, "Dad, I'm sorry." It wasn't just the word, it was how he said it. Like something cracked wide open in him. He admitted he thought life with Roger would be all fun, no rules. "At first it was awesome," he said, "but then it felt wrong. Like no one cared if I messed up or if I even showed up to school." His voice shook. "I wanted to come back, but I didn't know how." I told him, "You never lost your home. You just had to figure it out for yourself." He nodded, And for the first time in months, I saw my kid again. Not the cocky, spoiled version Roger created, but the boy I'd raised. But peace didn't last. 2 days later, Roger showed up at my driveway. No call, no warning. He was pounding on my front door, red-eyed, half-drunk. I cracked the door and he shoved against it, forcing his way in. Tyler heard the noise and froze at the top of the stairs. "You think you can just steal him back?" Roger barked. His voice was booming, spitting flecks of rage. "I gave him freedom, and you brainwashed him into crawling back to your cage." I pushed him back toward the door, but he was strong, wild. His arm swung and knocked a framed photo off the wall, Tyler's school picture from 4th grade. The glass shattered across the floor. Tyler gasped, like watching his old fantasy of Grandpa literally break apart. "Enough!" I yelled. My voice echoed through the house. I shoved Roger onto the porch, locked the door, and dialed 911 with shaking hands. That broke him. He went from rage to theatrics instantly. Outside, he pounded his fists on the siding, shouting loud enough for the neighbors, "My son's kidnapping my grandson. He's poisoning him against me." By the time the cops rolled up, half the street was watching. Roger switched gears again, pretending to stumble like I'd hit him, slurring about being an abused father. The officers separated us, asked questions, but Tyler came down shaking, eyes blazing with a clarity I'd never seen in him. "He's lying," Tyler told them, voice steady. "He threatened us. He broke stuff. I don't want to live with him." That shut everything down. The cops gave Roger a warning to leave or be charged with trespassing. He stormed off, muttering curses, but I knew it wasn't the end. Roger doesn't lose quietly. That night, Tyler asked me point blank, "He's going to come back, isn't he?" I looked at my son, my house still humming with tension, and said the only thing I could, "If he does, we'll be ready this time." Don't forget to subscribe. Update. Wow, I didn't expect this to blow up the way it did. I read through so many of your comments last night, and honestly, I'm kinda reeling. Some of y'all were cracking me up. One guy said, "Roger sounds like the final boss of gaslighting," and I nearly spit out my coffee. Others were dead serious, telling me to get cameras, get restraining orders, lawyer up. And yeah, a lot of you said what I already knew deep down. My dad isn't just toxic, he's dangerous. A few people DM'd me saying I was weak for signing those custody papers without a fight. I get it. I do. But here's the thing. If I had fought, Tyler would have hated me. He had to see Roger for what he really is with his own eyes, or else I'd just be the villain in the story Roger spun for him. Now, Tyler saw it. He lived it. And he's back. That's a win I wouldn't trade for anything. But don't think for a second Roger's backing down. After the cops left, he went on a Facebook tirade, posted some long rant about sons who dishonor their fathers and grandchildren being weaponized. He even tagged me. My sister texted screenshots like, what the hell? Neighbors have been giving me that look. You know, the one that says we saw everything but we don't want to get involved. And Tyler, he's trying to act tough, but I can tell he's shaken. He won't go to bed without double-checking the locks. He asked if we could move his mattress into my room, just for a while. That broke me. So yeah, I'm not just sitting on my hands. I filed for a restraining order this morning. I've already got cameras set up around the house, and I'm documenting everything. But here's the part some of you might like. I'm not just going to defend. I'm going on the offense. My dad spent his whole life playing the hero in public while tearing people down behind closed doors. The same man who used to call me worthless now wants to play super grandpa for Facebook clout? Nah, not anymore. I'm done letting him control the narrative. I've got years' worth of stories, receipts, proof of what he's really like. And if he keeps pushing, if he so much as knocks on my door again, I'm going to burn that fake image of his to the ground. Thanks for all the advice, the tough love, even the sarcastic jokes. I needed every bit of it. Stay tuned, because if Roger keeps escalating, I promise you, I won't just fight back. I'll make sure he never forgets it. Roger didn't wait long to strike back. 2 nights after the cops escorted him off my porch, Tyler's school called me. Apparently, Roger had shown up during dismissal, demanding to see his grandson. He told the front office he had custody rights, and tried to walk straight past security. When they stopped him, he caused a full-blown scene, yelling about how the school was harboring Tyler, threatening lawsuits, name-dropping family court like he was the damn judge himself. They had to call the SRO, school resource officer, to physically remove him. Tyler saw the whole thing. He told me later his classmates were whispering, staring. "Your grandpa's nuts," one of them said. Tyler looked like he wanted to sink through the floor when he told me. That was the moment I knew Roger wasn't just trying to win Tyler back. He was trying to humiliate me, force a showdown in public, drag everyone into his chaos. So I flipped the script. Remember how I said I've got receipts? Years worth of stories, old scars, police reports from my childhood that I buried just to survive? I pulled them out. I made a binder. Every incident, every drunken outburst, every time he called me worthless, every photo of broken furniture I'd hidden growing up. And I paired it with fresh evidence, screenshots of his Facebook rants, the 911 report from my house, statements from Tyler's school. Then I did something Roger would never expect. I showed Tyler. We sat at the kitchen table and I laid it out. No sugarcoating, no hiding. I told him exactly who his grandfather is and who he's always been. At first, Tyler didn't want to hear it. He covered his face, muttered, "I don't want to know." But then he started flipping through the binder himself. His eyes got wide. He whispered, He did this to you too?" I nodded. "Yeah, and I swore I'd break the cycle. That's why I fight you on bedtime, on chores, on grades. Because discipline isn't hate, it's love. This..." I tapped the page with Roger's drunken police report. This is what it looks like when a man pretends love is gifts and freedom, but actually just doesn't care. Tyler started crying. Actual ugly, shaking tears. I thought he loved me more. I put my hand on his shoulder. He loves himself more. Always has. That night, Tyler did something symbolic. Something that hit me harder than any words. He grabbed the PS5 Roger had given him, dragged it to the garage, and shoved it against the wall like it was trash. "I don't want it," he said. His voice cracked, but it was steady. That was the turning point. But Roger wasn't done. He's not the type to back off after losing face. The next weekend, I found my truck keyed in the driveway. Deep, deliberate scratches, spelling out the word thief. Tyler saw it before I did. His face went pale and he whispered, "He's not going to stop, is he?" I told him the truth. No, not until we make him. And right then, the revenge plan clicked into place. Roger lived for appearances. That was his weak spot. He'd built this reputation in our town as the generous, fun-loving grandpa who took care of family. Everyone at his church thought he was some saint, handing out donations, showing up to potlucks with a smile plastered on his face. They didn't see the smashed bottles, the screaming, the way he turned kids into props. So I hit him where it hurt. Step 1. I filed for a protective order, citing the school incident, the trespassing, and the vandalism. I attached the binder. Every receipt, every police report. The photos of my truck keyed with thief carved into it. I even included Tyler's written statement, where he described Roger screaming, breaking furniture, calling him ungrateful. Tyler didn't hold back, his handwriting shaky but his words brutal. I don't feel safe with him. He scares me. Step 2. I leaked the truth, without lifting a finger. I gave the same binder to Roger's pastor. That man had always looked at me with pity, like I was the bitter son who couldn't appreciate his father's generosity. Now he had the unfiltered truth. It didn't stay private long. The church board confronted Roger in front of half the congregation after Sunday service. He went off like a grenade, shouting, denying, throwing his arms around. People pulled out phones. Videos started circulating on Facebook. Comments piled up. Is this the same Roger who's always bragging about his grandson? Didn't he just get escorted out of the middle school last week? Roger's mask cracked in public for the first time in his life. Step 3. I sealed the coffin. Tyler decided on his own to go public too. He posted on his Instagram, "My grandpa isn't who you think he is. He left me alone for days, screamed at me, and smashed stuff when I tried to stand up for myself. Don't ask me about him again." The post blew up with classmates, and within hours, neighbors were DMing me like, "We had no idea." Roger couldn't spin it anymore. His perfect grandpa image was in shreds, and he knew exactly who did it. That night, my phone lit up with call after call from him. When I didn't answer, he started leaving voicemails. First screaming, then crying, then begging. "You ruined me, Mark. You ruined me. After everything I did for that boy." I didn't call back. Tyler listened to one of those voicemails and just shook his head. He still doesn't get it. And that's when I realized the revenge wasn't just about exposing Roger. It was about showing my son that we don't stay silent. That when someone tries to twist love into control, you don't just walk away. You take their mask and rip it off in front of everyone. Roger wanted a war? Fine. But he was fighting unarmed now. Update 2. So, yeah, that escalated fast. Remember how I said I was done letting Roger control the narrative? Well, mission accomplished. The man went from fun grandpa of the year to unhinged old drunk in less than a week. And it wasn't me swinging the hammer. It was him, swinging at shadows until everyone saw the truth. A lot of you told me not to stoop to his level, that the best revenge would be living well and cutting him off. I hear you. But here's the thing. My dad didn't believe in silence. He thrived in it. He relied on people keeping his secrets so he could keep playing hero in public. Exposing him wasn't stooping down. It was pulling him up into the daylight and watching him melt. And holy hell, did he melt. First, the church board. I wasn't even there, but I've seen the video now. Him screaming, red-faced, calling people traitors, saying I'd forged evidence. Meanwhile, half the town was staring. Someone even zoomed in on Tyler's written statement in the binder when a deacon held it up. His handwriting, his words. He scares me. People gasped out loud. You can hear it on the recording. Then came the fallout. Roger's Facebook, wiped clean. He deleted every post about Tyler, every brag, every proud grandpa photo. But it was too late. Screenshots were already everywhere. Someone even made a meme with his ranting face over the caption, "Best grandpa ever. Some restrictions apply." It's messed up that I laughed, but I did. And here's the wild part. Tyler's the one standing taller now. He told me, "Dad, I'm not embarrassed anymore. Everyone knows it's him, not me." The kid who once called me boring for making him do chores is now asking if he can mow the lawn and help cook dinner. Not because I forced him, but because he wants normal again. I'll admit, some of your comments got to me too. A few of you said this was generational trauma on repeat. That stung. But you're right. I grew up under Roger's rage, and for a minute, I thought Tyler was going to repeat my mistakes. Now? I think we finally broke the cycle. As for Roger, he's circling the drain. I heard from my sister he's been calling everyone in the family, begging them to take his side. Nobody's biting. He's burned every bridge. So yeah, maybe this is the end of the story. Or maybe not. With Roger, you never know if he's done until the dust really settles. But for the first time in a long time, my house feels like a home again. Thanks to everyone who told me to hold my ground. And to the guy who commented, "Your dad's reputation was built on lies, so it's only fair it ended on the truth." You nailed it. I thought Roger would go quiet after his reputation tanked. I should have known better. 2 nights later, I woke to the sound of gravel crunching outside. At first, I thought it was just a late car passing by. Then I saw the shadow through the blinds. Someone was in my driveway. It was Roger. He was sitting in his truck, engine idling, headlights off. Just watching the house. I stood at the window in the dark, my heart thudding. Tyler's door creaked open behind me. He whispered, "Is that him?" I didn't answer. I didn't have to. We stood there for maybe 15 minutes until the truck finally pulled away. But the next morning, I found tire tracks dug deep into my yard where he'd peeled out. A message. The following day, I got an email from my boss. Someone, guess who, had called my company, ranting about how I was mentally unstable and endangering children. Said they should reconsider keeping me employed. Luckily, my boss knows me, knows my work. He forwarded me the voicemail as proof. Roger's voice, slurred and bitter, trying to torch my livelihood. That was it. He'd already tried to humiliate me, vandalize my truck, stalk my house. Now he was going after my job. He wanted me destroyed. So I escalated too. I met with my lawyer again and handed over everything. The drive-by, the threatening voicemails, the attempt at workplace sabotage. We filed to have the protective order expanded. I also gave a copy of the work voicemail to the same pastor who'd already confronted him. Word spread fast. Within days, Roger wasn't just the crazy grandpa, he was the dangerous one. Tyler, meanwhile, wasn't hiding anymore. He told me, if he shows up again, I'm calling the cops myself. That shift, it floored me. My kid had gone from running to grandpa for freedom to standing his ground against him. But Roger wasn't done. The next Saturday, we came home from the grocery store to find something waiting in the driveway. A box, duct-taped shut, with "For Tyler" scrawled across it in black marker. I told Tyler not to touch it. I used a crowbar to pry it open. Inside? Junk. Old broken toys, an empty liquor bottle, and a folded note. The note just said, "One day you'll see I was right." Tyler stared at it, then at me. He didn't cry. He didn't yell. He just said, "He's pathetic." Then he kicked the box over and walked inside. That's when I knew Roger had lost. Not because of the court papers, not because of the reputation collapse, but because the one person he thought he still controlled had finally seen through him completely. Still, I had one final move left. Something Roger would never recover from. The box stunt was the last straw. Tyler deserved peace, not this endless cycle of Roger's games. So I made sure Roger got an ending he couldn't spin. Court day came fast. My lawyer pushed for an emergency hearing to extend the protective order permanently. Roger showed up in his usual fake grandpa uniform, pressed shirt, shiny shoes, Bible tucked under his arm. He tried to smile at the judge like they were old friends. But then the evidence came out. The binder. The vandalism photos. The voicemail where he called me unstable. The statement from Tyler's school about the screaming fit at dismissal. And finally, Tyler's own words, read out loud. "He scares me. I don't feel safe with him." Roger cracked right there in the courtroom, stood up, shouting about conspiracies, pointing at me, calling me a liar. The judge pounded the gavel, warning him to sit down, but he wouldn't. He shouted, "He turned my grandson against me." So loud the bailiff had to escort him out. The judge granted the permanent order on the spot. Roger is legally barred from contacting me or Tyler in any way. That should have been enough. But the universe had one more twist. Later that week, Roger tried to show up at his church to defend his honor. Except half the congregation had already seen the viral video of him raging in court. Someone recorded his outburst and posted it with the caption, "This is who we trusted with our kids." It spread through town like wildfire. By Sunday, the church leadership announced he was banned from serving in any capacity. His last mask was gone. Tyler and I watched it unfold online together. He didn't laugh, didn't gloat. He just said he did it to himself. And then, he picked up his backpack, went to his room, and started on his homework without me even asking. That hit me harder than anything. The kid who once screamed he was leaving me for fun grandpa was now setting his own bedtime, asking me to teach him how to cook dinner, mowing the lawn without complaint. Not because I demanded it, but because he understood now. That night, he said quietly, "Thanks for letting me figure it out myself. I get it now." And for the first time in months, I slept without checking the locks 3 times. Roger's still out there somewhere, probably nursing his bruised ego and telling anyone who'll listen that he was wronged. But it doesn't matter. He lost the only audience that ever mattered, his grandson. And me? I got my son back, stronger, wiser. And this time, he's not going anywhere.